Senior year of college, my hearing dropped again, and it hadn't dropped for about 10 years. But this time it really scared me. I had a boyfriend, I was getting ready to graduate. I thought, am I never gonna hear my boyfriend say I love you to me ever again? Am I going to learn sign language? I didn't know what life was going to look like. I thought, wait a minute, I have everything going for me and everything just came to a stop. There was so much anxiety and desperation surrounding my thoughts, internal in my body. It's scary. It's so scary to have something taken away from you that you've had. Access to community, access to the world. And I thought, I'm never going to be able to have a career. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with my life. I've grown up in a hearing world, and suddenly half of my world is gone. I don't know how to survive. I need somebody, I need something to just help me along the way. And I was just searching in the darkness, trying to figure out, what can I do? Get ready for the most fun CEU you've ever taken in your life. From silence to connection. Here we go. My name's Dr. Michelle Hu, and I'm an audiologist in Southern California. I've been practicing for 15 years, and one of my passions is to connect community with communication. I am a military spouse, a mom of 3 children, soon to be 4, and Matt arranged this lamp right here. My mission in life is to get people access to communication and language so that they can thrive in their everyday lives. I was identified when I was about 3 years old with mild hearing loss in both ears. My mom told me that my preschool teacher came up to her and said, "Mrs. Hu, your daughter, she's sneaking off during story time. She's not causing any trouble or anything, but she's going off reading a book or humming by herself. I think she's not hearing me when I'm reading the stories at school. You might want to get her hearing checked out." I was identified with mild hearing loss in both ears, fit with hearing aids pretty soon after that, and the rest is history. My hearing loss is as a result of something called enlarged vestibular aqueduct syndrome and Pendred syndrome. Both of those syndromes are related to progressive hearing loss. So every time I hit my head, my hearing would get worse, my hearing aids would need to be reprogrammed or they would get bigger, I would just need more power. It was daunting. It gave my parents anxiety. They were devastated every single time that happened. They were scared. They didn't know what to do. What was the cause? And they felt like it was their fault. But in reality, it wasn't their fault at all. It was because of the syndromes that I was born with. By the time I was age 10, I had bilateral profound hearing loss in both ears. Later then, I had a educational specialist help me. She gave me an FM system where I had a loop around my neck, the sound went straight to my ears, and the teacher had a microphone. I still was missing a lot of things because I couldn't see what was in front of me. If the teacher turned her face to the chalkboard and was was talking while she was writing, I would miss that. Closed caption TV didn't come out until the 1990s. So if you can imagine, for 7 years, I was watching TV, not knowing anybody's names, not knowing what they were saying. I hated cartoons because I definitely couldn't hear what was being said. In middle school and high school, all of my friends were busy talking on the phone, going to the movie theaters, hanging out at the mall. I never wanted to say yes to those invitations. I wanted to be there, but I just felt left out. I avoided group situations. I avoided birthday parties. I avoided the telephone and the movie theaters for 15 to 20 years because it gave me anxiety. I didn't want to be on the phone, miss something, feel stupid, feel like, they caught me, and need to ask for repetition. It was just too much. So I isolated myself. I stayed home. I did hobbies, crafts. I just stayed to myself. In high school, I did have a note taker who was a friend or a peer or classmate. my notes were better than hers, so it wasn't that helpful. But I discovered CART, or what's it stand for now?
Don't even.
I can't even. In college. In college, I worked with the Office of Accessibility at my university, and I received CART services. So basically, I had a stenographer typing right next to me, and it came up on a laptop what my professor was saying. This was amazing. I didn't miss a single word. It was still on the screen if I was taking a note and I needed to go back. I finally had access to exactly what the professor was saying because someone hearing was listening for me and transcribing the words onto there. When I went to college, I really wanted to find a profession where I could help people. But what scared me was communication, being on the phone with manufacturers or patients. How was I going to do that? How could I find some kind of career where I could help people but not talk to them? I don't know, is that a thing? It was senior year of college. My hearing dropped again. I was waiting in the lobby for another hearing test, and my mom looked over at me. She said, "Michelle, you might make a good audiologist. You understand firsthand what it's like to be in the sound booth, try different amplification, struggle with communication. You will be able to relate to them really, really well. Look at me now. I've become a pediatric audiologist. I get to help people in the exact same shoes that I was when I was growing up. Those struggles, I can relate to them. The technology, I can tell them what's new and what's available. I can show them that they have access to an amazing world of communication at their fingertips." One of the hardest parts about growing up hard of hearing is I really didn't have role models. I didn't have a community or friends to reach out and say, "Do you know what that's like? You know what I mean?" I wasn't really bullied. I did have a boy in 6th grade trying to turn the hearing aids off behind me. Looking back, he was probably trying to flirt with me, but that was to the extent, that was the most of it. So luckily I wasn't really bullied, and I think that was just my positive attitude for this is what's so, and I need to move on. But it wasn't until college or years later that I realized I've never addressed it. My parents, they expected my brother and I to be good humans, get good grades, and respect your elders, right? But we never talked about being deaf or hard of hearing. We never talked about my devices, and I never got to really express, I feel different. Express the fact that I feel different. I feel broken. I'm isolated in a world where everybody else can hear everything. The little inside jokes, the little changes in vocal intonation. I never realized all of these different things were my world, my deaf and hard of hearing world that almost nobody in my community understood. I think growing up, I never really thought I was part of either the hearing or the deaf community. A couple of girls came up to me in high school at the mall. They saw my hearing aids and they were super excited to learn to communicate with. They were super excited to sign with me. I looked at them and I was like, "I'm sorry, I don't know sign language." And at that point, I felt like, shoot, I'm neither hearing or I'm neither deaf. I'm not deaf enough to be a part of that community. What was the question? I grew up using the words hearing impaired to describe myself because that's what my professionals used. Now, today, I either use deaf or hard of hearing. I use the words deaf when I'm with hearing people, and I use the words hard of hearing when I'm with deaf people. It's a complete change and transformation that's empowered me more to be with my identity, to really be with where I'm at. My disability doesn't have to define me. Dating was scary. I didn't know whether or not I should hide my hearing loss or if I should tell them. And when I was younger, I really wanted to hide it. I didn't want people to know about it. I remember being at the bar and my friend just slapping me, "Michelle, 5 guys just tried to talk to you and they walked right by you." I was like, oh, I didn't hear them. And they thought I was don't do that. I remember being on a date with a guy. I think my hearing aids were squealing or emitting feedback. And he kept looking around like, "What is that sound? What is that sound?" I was so embarrassed. I wanted to put my finger on my ear mold and just push it in, but I couldn't do that for the whole date. Over time, I discovered, you know what? It's more empowering to share that I have a disability, that I have a hearing loss. Could you please get my attention before you start to say something? Or I say to patients and parents all the time, I have a hearing loss, or I am hard of hearing. If it seems like I ignored you or I didn't hear you, please let me know. That's not my intention. I want to know what you said. What you say is important to me. When I was in grad school, I ran home after class one day and told my dad, Dad, did you know about cochlear implants? It's this technology that's available for people like me who have profound hearing loss. My dad said, yeah, I've known about it since you were about 10 years old. And I was floored. He said, we just weren't ready for the technology and you were doing so well in school. Well, what my parents didn't know is I was floating under the radar. I'm like a duck floating across the pond, appearing cool, calm, and collected, but I'm paddling furiously and working so hard beneath the water just to survive, just to look like I'm thriving in a hearing world. So when I ran home and I said, did you know about cochlear implant technology? He said yes, but we weren't ready for it yet. I said, well, I learned about it. It's available for people like me. It gives me access to sound. My dad sat next to me and said, you know what? If it's a good option for you now, go ahead. You're under our insurance until you're 26 years old. Go for it. I received my first cochlear implant in graduate school when I was studying to become an audiologist. My classmates helped activate my first device. And when they turned it on, it was like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. When her house in the tornado finally hits the ground, she opens the door and it's just a world of color. I could hear the birds chirping outside the window. I could hear my dad taking a shower. It was like surround sound came on and color just flooded into the picture. So having a cochlear implant gave me access to the super soft sounds, like fricative sounds, the S sound, the F, the TH. All of a sudden, everything was annoyingly awesome. I could hear the cicadas outside of my house. I could hear my mom spoon on her bowl when she was eating. And I thought, man, people are talking so loudly and so annoyingly. Those S sounds, why are there? I hadn't heard them in my life for probably about 20, 25 years. In high school or middle school, the phone would ring and I would just ignore it because I knew it's not going to be for me. Even if it was for me, I wouldn't want to talk to them on the phone, or I would use my mom or dad to communicate with my friends for me if we were trying to plan a play date. In college, I did get a cell phone, but I don't think I ever once picked it up and put it up to my ear. We were T9ing with friends and maybe with my parents, but it gave me anxiety. Why would I want to pick up the phone and call somebody when I knew I was going to miss half of the words, or I knew I was going to give the phone to somebody else to talk to that person for me? And that was disempowering. I couldn't communicate with the outside world. I couldn't make my own doctor's appointments. I couldn't ask questions of like, when is this movie theater going? I think the only thing I ever called was the weather line, or was it the time? You can call it, you don't remember this. I remember in middle school, the hot thing to do was to call Eminem and vote for what color you wanted next. And I really wanted purple or teal. And I would tell my friends, here's a quarter, would you cast my vote for me? And they'd scurry up to the payphone, call Eminem and be like, I want my vote to be cast for that color. I forgot about that.
I thought you were talking about the rapper.
No. No. I didn't use the phone for 15, maybe 20 years. And I really only used the phone to talk to my mom. I couldn't understand my dad or my brother on the phone. It really was just, where are you? What time should I pick you up? Being an audiologist, I have to be able to call insurance companies, hearing aid companies, manufacturers, and patients. That was probably part of the job that I severely lacked in. I would ask my admin to make the calls for me. I would ask students to make the calls for me. I would ask my coworkers, hey, do you know so-and-so's email? I would rather walk into a doctor's office and make that appointment with the front desk receptionist face to face than to pick up the phone and call. I was that scared. It was not a big deal for me to get in the car and do all of that instead of picking up the phone. It was when I had kids when I started thinking, I need to share a little bit more. I need to tell people that I'm hard of hearing. Because if it's my fault that my child can't have a play date with their friend because I'm afraid to talk on the phone with their mom, I don't want that to happen. So I started sharing a little bit more about my journey, my being hard of hearing, and I attended a conference called HLAA, or Hearing Loss Association of America. I walked by this booth called InnoCaption, and I was like, what is that t-shirt? I kind of want one because I really like the word on their shirt, empower. It's like, what does that mean? How are they empowering us? And I quickly discovered that InnoCaption is an app that captions cell phone calls. If I'm on a call, I can look at my phone and the words that the other person and me are saying are right there. I can read it, I can go back to it if I missed a single word or if I missed the whole thing. I went to this conference and for the first time in my life, everything was accessible. Things were closed captioned, the rooms were looped. I couldn't believe that there was such a world for deaf and hard of hearing people. I think that more audiologists should really strive to understand what it's like to be deaf or hard of hearing. If more audiologists could relate profoundly with their patients, you could serve them that much better. The quality of care from audiologists for deaf and hard of hearing patients strongly reflects on how well that an audiologist can relate to their patient. So something that I recommend is that audiologists attend the Hearing Loss Association of America conference because you can get into our world. What is it like? What are our worries? What are our concerns? The presentations at HLAA are curated for people who are deaf and hard of hearing. And if an audiologist were to watch that, they would say, oh, that's what they worry about? I can apply my practice in order to help them better. By the end of the conference, I was sitting on Christina's back, giving her a back rub on the floor. I had become so close with the team because of the common mission that we have to help deaf and hard of hearing people feel empowered in their communication. I loved that it was a family business. I loved that so many members of their family are involved and are so intentionally driven to help deaf and hard of hearing people thrive in this hearing world. What makes InnoCaption special? What makes InnoCaption special to me is that you can switch over seamlessly and easily during the phone call from AI to a live stenographer. So that means if I'm calling a bank or if I'm calling an airline agency with a problem and they have a heavy accent, I can get somebody who's hearing on the line without them knowing to caption my phone call for me. Even better, the live stenographers will supply additional information, like if there's a baby crying in the background, or if they're at a noisy bar or a restaurant, or if there's some kind of ambulance sound in the background. That gives me more access to feel more present and engaged with the conversation. InnoCaption usually... A lot of times patients will ask me, am I gonna have to use a new number or can I use my same number? Rest assured, you can use your same cell phone number. Another feature that I love is call forwarding. Anytime a call comes into my phone, it goes right to the InnoCaption app. So it opens it right there and I can start reading the captions. Another feature that I love is that all of your transcriptions are saved. So if I'm busy with my kids or just in clinic, I can go back and look at my transcripts and look up that address or that phone number or that medication and have that right there. Most of the time in clinic is so easy to set up, I do it on their phone for them. They'll ask for some patient information. First name, last 4 digits of social security number, and address. This is because the app is FCC certified and they just need to make sure that the patient is eligible for the app. Note for audiologists, you don't have to send an audiogram to verify their hearing loss. It's the patient that self-certifies their hearing loss to use the app. And the best part of it, the app is offered at no cost for the patient because it's FCC certified.
Is there a subscription fee?
Nope.
Are there hidden charges?
Nope.
Are you gonna bill me per minute?
Nope. Now in clinic, almost every adult comes in and says, phone calls are one of my most difficult situations. I often see husband and wife couple come in and the wife is making that appointment for them or answering the questions for them. It's so easy to just have your partner say, I got this, or look at them and have them answer the phone for them. Make those appointments. It's so easy just to shrink back and let other people do things for you. But that's disempowering. You don't get to have your say. You don't get to express your opinion. When I see those couples, when I see those patients come in and say, I have difficulty in this situation, I want to give them everything that I've learned in my entire life. I want to show them, you know what, phone calls are possible. Here's an app, here's some technology that will get you connected with your kids again, that will get you connected with your grandchildren, that will give you that empowerment to be able to call the bank and say, hey, I have an issue, can we solve this? And it's done in minutes. Whereas before, I would either ignore the problem, hope it would go away, or hope that somebody else would take care of it for me. And that's disempowering. I couldn't do my job at a full 100%. Usually it's when I'm counseling about their hearing loss or showing them the audiogram. You're gonna have difficulty on the phone because you don't have hearing at these high frequencies, or you don't have access to those high frequencies that distinguish speech. Usually then is when I tell them, you know, there's an app out there that can totally help you. I totally have an advantage because I'm hard of hearing and I can relate to my patients. I've been using the InnoCaption app for a couple of years now, so it's super easy for me to show it to them. But if you're an audiologist and you're hearing, you can download a demo account so you can experience it yourself and then be able to explain how it works to your patients easily. When you download the InnoCaption app on your phone, there's two options. You can say, I am hard of hearing, or I'm an audiologist or hearing healthcare worker, and I want to download a demo account to use it. So I always ask my patients, how are you doing on the phone? Have you talked on the phone in a while? I didn't talk on the phone for 15 to 20 years. Usually when I say that, their face just floods. Like, yeah, I haven't talked on the phone. I avoid that like the plague. I would rather email or text or have my spouse make the phone calls for me. When I see that dynamic, I think about the InnoCaption app immediately. It's super easy. It's so empowering. It takes a weight off the spouse or the partner to make those phone calls for them. I always have these brochures available in my clinic. It's quick, it's easy, it's super self-explanatory, and they can just scan the QR code in the comfort of their own home, download this app, and just check what it's all about. If you want to have some informational brochures in your clinic, scan this QR code and they'll send it right out to you. You know when you're growing up and your parents are your superheroes, and then one day they do something and you find out and realize they're not perfect? I was so afraid for that point. I was wondering, when are they gonna notice my devices on my ears? When are they gonna notice that I get nervous talking to other parents or teachers? I decided, you know what? I need to share with them. This is my life and my family. So I started sharing, Mommy can't hear you when I'm in the shower. Mommy can't hear you from across the room or across the house. I need you to look at me and show me your lips so that I can hear and understand you. We started talking about devices. I showed them my devices. I even showed them how to take them apart and put them on my ear in case of emergency. Well, now in the morning, they come running in, they put those batteries on and put my cochlear implant on so that I can hear. Or they start to sign when I'm in the shower. I can't get away from them. No.
How old are your kids now?
My kids are 6.5, 5, 3, and 0 right now. Thanks for making it this far. Let's wrap it up. Here are 4 key takeaways. Phone calls are one of the hardest struggles for the deaf and hard of hearing community. And as an audiologist, you should definitely be aware of this. What are the other ones? Assistive technology like the InnoCaption app can significantly reduce anxiety and help empower patients to make phone calls. Our job as audiologists is to provide information and accessibility resources so that our patients can better navigate these challenges. Encourage your patients to explore assistive technology and something. As an audiologist, I tell my patients, I hope you don't have to come back to me. I want you to feel empowered going out into the world, knowing exactly what you need and how to get access. As a hard of hearing audiologist, this is why I'm sharing my story with you today. We have the opportunity to help our patients through those struggles so that they don't have to avoid the telephone for 15 to 20 years. I know that many of my patients share the same struggles that I did, especially on the phone. As an audiologist, you can share this resource with them so that they can feel empowered and make phone calls with confidence. InnoCaption didn't just change my life, it's changing the lives of the deaf and hard of hearing community and the way they communicate on the phone. I hope my story has given you some insight on what it's like to be hard of hearing in a hearing world. Together as audiologists, we can bridge that communication.
Peace out and walk out.
Peace.